What's up, Castleberry? Welcome to episode 171. Confirmed 171.
You want to keep that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we should probably give some background, dear listener. We thought this was episode 170, but no, we are wrong. This is the 173rd first opportunity that you have had to listen to this podcast, and we have got a great, inspiring episode for you today. But before we begin, let me welcome the team. Carlos, say hi.
Hi.
Alia, say it's good to be with you today, or whatever you want to say.
Hey.
Hey, girlfriend. And Robin.
Sup, bro?
Sup, bro? I love it. And hello, everybody. My name is Andy. I'm glad to be with the team. All right, team, as we begin, we are fast approaching St. Patrick's Day, who was, of course, the patron saint of Ireland. And he is the patron saint of engineers. Did you know that, Carlos?
Didn't know that.
And migrants. And I did know that because he invited a lot of folks into Ireland who had previously been disallowed, which is lovely. But the question is, as we talk about St. Patrick's Day, is if you were the patron saint of something, what would it be?
I'm going to call dibs on being the patron saint of dad jokes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we ask what qualifies you for that?
Confirm that.
I'm not qualified for it. I would just like to promote it and advocate for it.
All right. Carlos, the patron saint of dad jokes. That can go on.
What is it called when you can, when you give someone their sainthood? Confirmation?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some
I should.
high holy Catholic word.
Yeah, that's.
Bestowed. You bestow.
Yeah.
We bestow you. I don't think we have the power as a podcast to bestow anything on anybody, but we bestow you as the patron saint of What's Up, Castleberry Dad Joke.
We'll clear it up with the Vatican later.
Saint of something, what would you be the patron of?
So I'm a cat person.
Oh.
So it would definitely be cats. I have two.
Robin, what would you be the patron saint of?
Glitter and feel goodness and girlyhood and sparkles, which is different than glitter, and just do what you want, man.
What's the difference between sparkles and glitter?
One is
asking for a friend.
One is more grainy and never it never leaves you.
This is one of those, if you have to ask, you don't need to know, Andy.
You just know it when you see it, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, the patron saint of glitter, the patron saint of cats, the patron saint of dad jokes. What would I be the patron saint of? I don't know. I'm not very saintly at anything. Community?
Mm-hmm. Community building, community supporting.
All right, that's very good. Maybe the patron saint of patronizing.
Okay.
Patronizing, because I can do that sometimes, can't I? Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day, listeners. We have some saints around the table with us today. Let's move to our news desk, where we have some very exciting breaking news about an event coming up really soon on Saturday, March 8th. Who would like to share this news with our listeners?
So, Saturday, March 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just to clarify.
Actually, when did the clocks change?
Well, I didn't say daylight savings time.
we're still in Eastern. It's not like we shift a few hundred miles east.
Multiple time zones in Castle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If you're on the left side of 1792.
Vincent Ngala, who last performed in Castleberry in 2016, makes his return to our Spring Jazz and Art Festival. He's released 8 studio albums. He's touring his most recent release, which is Escape With Me. He now has 10 number 1 songs, including Movin' and Shakin' in 2024. So please take some time out of your Saturday. Come out, enjoy the Spring Jazz and Art Festival. There will be great music. There will be great, great food, art exhibits, the food trucks. And so, yeah, it'll be a great time.
Moving and shaking. I mean, I really have heard this guy is very, very good. And one of the best in his field. Is quite a coup for... Is coup or coup? Coup for the city? Coup?
A coup? We don't want to have a coup.
No, coup's bad, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
overthrow dictators, and we don't have those in our city. In fact, we have saints around the table. All right, so listener, that will be a fun night, March 8th. Stop by the park, listen to some jazz, spend some time with friends, help build community. One thing that builds community, Robin, you know what it is?
Andy Searles.
Nope. It is dad jokes. And so let's move to our dad joke section, which is sponsored by the patron saint of dad jokes himself.
No pressure now.
You are up first. And yes, Robin, there is some pressure on him to deliver after being the self-proclaimed saint of dad jokes.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. So I just recently watched that new Captain America movie that came out.
Yes.
Y'all seen it? Did you know why the Hulk doesn't lose his pants every time he transforms?
Why?
Because the experiment that he had done on him altered his genes.
Hey! Okay.
You always tee them up really well. I will say that.
That's part of
is.
That's
That
why
is
he
it.
earned his sainthood.
That's right. That's right.
I also learned recently. Do you guys know why scuba divers fall backwards out of the boat?
Why?
Well, if they fell forwards, they'd fall into the boat.
Robin, I love those. You give these disproportionate laughs. That's great.
Disproportionate. That was a good one.
All right, Alia, what do you got for us?
So, for St. Patrick's Day, do leprechauns make good journalists?
Oh, do leprechauns make good journalists?
Yes or no?
No, I don't know.
Well, they do. Yes.
They
They're
do?
great at shorthand.
I like that.
Oh, nicely
So
done.
sorry.
Nicely done. Nicely done. What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common?
What?
They're both parasites.
Ah,
Took me a second.
What?
This is not
Okay.
Leslie's world.
All right. We're just going to pause for a moment. Robin, let us know when you've caught up, please. Okay. How do you follow Will Smith when you're in the snow?
How do you what?
How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
How?
You follow the Fresh Prince. Yeah?
That is really good. Honestly.
I have one.
Oh,
hear it.
you do? Okay. Tell us when to laugh.
How? How do you?
Is it now? Now?
How do you drown a hipster
How do you drown a hipster?
in the mainstream?
In the mainstream. Did you make that up?
No, I just go. I wanted to be included.
That is good. You are most definitely welcome at this table. All right. We can continue, but I think it's probably best that we stop. Let's pause. Let's take a moment. Let's hear from our sponsor, and then we'll come back with our very special guest.
Church Together connects people together with Christ in community and for our city. Join us for worship at 200 North Triplet Lake Drive in Castleberry, Sundays at 10 a.m. For more information, visit us at ourchurchtogether.com.
Listeners, welcome back to our favorite part of the show where we shine the spotlight on someone who has an incredible story to share. And today's guest certainly has that through her life, but through the lives of many that her organization touches. Her organization is called Commission 127. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But her name is Michelle Stewart. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are glad that you have joined us today. Now, you seem a very confident, unnerved lady, but Carlos is quite nervous. He gets intimidated very easily, especially around brilliant, smart people. So we want to ask a couple of icebreakers, really just for Carlos to help him kind of feel at ease. So
I'm glad to help.
just,
Glad to help.
he needs all the help.
I'm hoping that Robin edits out the part where I'm shaking right now. I don't know if
you can
hear
probably
it.
hear that, listener. It's not a hurricane coming in. It's just Carlos's nerves. All right, so the first question. If you could open a restaurant anywhere in Seminole County, what kind of food would you serve? And whereabouts would you like to open that location?
I love that question because I love to eat out. My husband and I love to go to little beach towns, just little sleepy beach towns. We actually just were up north of Jacksonville this past weekend, and to pop into those little mom and pop places, I love those places. And I think it really does connect to what we're going to talk about today, because stepping into those places make me feel like I'm stepping into somebody's story. And I love it when you go in and you feel like you're with people that know each other. They meet regularly there. You're kind of just like a fly on the wall watching community. So I would probably serve like Americana food. I grew up in Oklahoma. We'll talk about that. But with my grandparents, and we ate a lot of meatloaf.
Ah, there you go.
So I'm partial. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you got the family food and the family atmosphere.
That's right.
The family stories. I love it.
I didn't realize, growing up with my grandparents, that I was eating a lot of Depression era food, but I love that. So I'm partial now. So that's what we'd be eating.
Do you have a good meatloaf recipe?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
We'll share.
Mashed potatoes,
Send it to us,
green
and we'll
beans.
put it in the episode link. So, if your life were a book, what would be the book's title, and what chapter of this stage of your life be called?
Well, I love to garden, so I've gained a lot of just practical wisdom digging in the dirt. So I think my title might be Dig In.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. It'd be an invitation to discover the insights that wait below the surface of everyday life, everyday experiences. Those really have happened for me out there digging in the dirt. And
If I was hanging with you young, cool kids, I'd say, digging that title.
are you digging it? Yeah.
Do they say that anymore?
Well,
They don't. Okay.
well, then maybe the title. But the chapter that I'm in right now is In the Weeds.
Oh.
And that is significant because I think sometimes you feel like you're in over your head. It's kind of messy. It can even be overwhelming, feeling like it's unproductive. But I believe that there's more to those seasons. So I just had a friend over. It's been really cold here in Florida.
Yeah.
And my garden looks horrible. So I'm like, we need to dig all of this up, burn it down, basically. So my friend, who is a master gardener, came over, and I'm giving her all of this. And she said, Michelle, why don't you just clean it up? I'm like, well, that's practical and not the nuclear option, right? So sometimes you just need somebody to come alongside you and, give you some kind of measured response. So, but I'm definitely in the weeds a lot.
I like it. I heard a great story the other day. Can I just share it? I don't know what time, but there's a guy who had some dandelions. True story. I read it in the paper last week. Dandelions growing in his yard, and tried to remove them, couldn't get rid of them, right? So he bought some weed killer, couldn't get rid of them. Looked in his neighbor's yard was overrun with dandelions. So he killed all there, but they just kept coming back. So he was so frustrated, he wrote to the Department of Agriculture. True story, right? I said, what do I do to get rid of my dandelions? So he sent him a letter, heard nothing for about 7 months, and then he got a letter that said, we've consulted all our experts, right? And what we suggest, sir, is that you choose to love the dandelions.
I was going to say,
So-
I've let plants grow.
What a great perspective.
Yes,
Right?
they're actually quite pretty.
Yeah, learn
And
to love the weeds.
You learn to love them. So, yes, that's a true story. I like it. And I'm living by it, actually. I love my weeds.
That's right. Both the real ones and the metaphorical
Yes,
ones. Huh?
exactly. I'm learning a lot.
So you grew up in Oklahoma. What are 3 words that you would use to describe your childhood besides meatloaf?
And that's the food, not the singer.
Right.
I did like meatloaf, actually, both the singer and the food. But growing up in Oklahoma, my childhood was pretty tumultuous, which really makes it sweet to be a part of Commission 127 as we talk about that. And so I was trying to think of 3 words that were kind of Oklahoma-ish, I guess. Tornadoes, rodeos, and cicadas. So, and each of those are representative really of Oklahoma, the geography, but also my personal story, because tornadoes are unpredictable and destructive. Rodeos are grab on and hang on. It's not really what we want our kids to experience, but they can be fun too if you know how to do it. But in my case, it was a wild ride. Yeah. And then cicadas, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I do love the sound of a cicada. I have friends that don't, but you walk outside and it's like a symphony, and it can become a kind of a backstory, or a back song rather, to the day. So I have memories of warm, long summer days in Oklahoma playing and having that as the background music. But
gotcha. Well, wasn't last year like a once in a lifetime cicada experience with like several different kinds of cicadas like surfacing at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know much about them except they sound amazing.
Okay.
Well,
yeah. Can we recommend a good cicada podcast for anybody who is interested? Because we obviously aren't it.
Write that down.
But those
they don't release episodes often for those, so.
That's right. I'm sure they've got
every 17 years.
Is that right? I think cicada is a better word than locust too, but I use those interchangeably as I grew up. But I don't think they're the same thing, but we're going to stick with cicadas, right? Because locusts sound like a biblical disaster.
It does, like a plague.
Yeah, and that's not my memory.
We had to talk about Commission 127, and you got involved through your church, and then you served the care team, and then later as an advocate. Now you're on staff. The question I've got before you is, how did you get involved? But as you share that story, if you just share a little bit about what Commission 127 is, because I realize we haven't.
Yeah, Commission 127. It's an incredible organization that walks alongside people that have stepped into the foster world. We know that people that start fostering with really good intentions, and they come up against a lot of challenges. And it's often very isolating, and a lot of people quit, not because of the kids, but because it's just so challenging and isolating. So if we can step into their space and walk alongside them, and I can tell you the different ways we do that, but that's basically walking along somebody, or walking beside someone who's in that space, helps them foster longer and stronger, and then it makes the lives of the children more stable, and hopefully to end the cycle of repeating children, aging out, having children, entering. So we see a lot of that. And we see that this makes a difference.
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, we were just talking off air, and it's your story to tell, Carlos, but I mean, you were in that situation where you were fostering and just experienced the toughness of it and found a community of support there. Yeah, no,
Commission 127 really helped us to connect with people who were going through the same thing. And, it can be tough. Before I did foster care, I could have talked to a foster parent who would have told me what they were struggling with. And as much as you can, sympathize with them, you can't really empathize, or whatever, whichever order that comes in. But then when you're going through it, to be able to talk to another foster parent who's kind of been through that same thing of, the system is, we're having issues with this, or this process is kind of frustrating, or, the doctor's appointments or whatever, like anything like that, to just have people who are there to support you, and then even just to check in on you, because there was times where it was the middle of the week and we'd get a text from someone that we knew from C127 or through C127. We'd say, hey, are you guys doing okay? Yeah. And it was...
Well, it takes a village, and sadly a lot of people don't have a village, so Commission 127 can be a village. So that was like a little bonus question that I asked to set up. But tell us about how you got involved, your passion for that.
Yeah, well, similar to what we're doing right now, it was a conversation. 2 friends at church, both fostered and adopted, and I watched them survive and thrive, and the kids growing, and they said, hey, do you want to come and hear more about this ministry that supports what we do? So I went and I listened, and I thought, well, I think I can do that. As they were describing the crisis of foster care in Florida, and we'll talk about that if we have time, but I began to feel this kind of personal connection to that, because as I mentioned, the tornado and the rodeo, these kids that enter into foster care enter in through no fault of their own. Addiction, domestic violence, abuse, neglect, incarceration, and these kids end up in a hard space. And that was my story. So thus the tornado rodeo connection. But I started seeing, well, we have a hope. We have an answer for that. The village, a community. Not everybody's called to foster, but we are all called to care. And not everybody we can't do everything, but we can do something. And with everybody doing something, it starts to paint a really cool picture. So I joined a team. We built a team around a sweet family in Oviedo. I've been on that team since the beginning. So I'm still a team leader there. And my dear family, they've adopted 3 kids. They've fostered, they were fostering 3. One of the little guys was reunified. They still have 2. They live in a little brick house in Oviedo. I mean, it's just right down there in downtown Oviedo. You can hear the chickens, and so they're doing real life, and the kids are thriving. And so I'm like, okay, now I'm a team leader. I need to do more. So I want to advocate for them. So put me in front of a microphone because it works.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got involved. So, and I love it.
Yeah. Love that story. So important.
So we've been alluding to kind of what the foster situation here is in Florida. We hear a lot about that in the media, the vulnerability of children and kind of what they're going through. Could you tell us a little bit more about here in Florida, what that's looking like and how C127 is using its support services and what its local impact is doing?
Absolutely. If it's okay, though, I'm going to go a little bit wider and then bring it down smaller, because this puts this in perspective. There's about 400,000 children in the United States in foster care. And so for this, we'll paint the picture for you a little clearer. More than 50% of these children come from only 5% of the nation's counties. And Orange, Seminole, and Osceola are in those 5%. So then let's take it a little closer, that we have about 1,200 children in foster care. Now, if you go look up the numbers, they change, but I'm just giving you a general picture. About 1,200 kids in foster care. We have more kids than we have foster families. That means, I think the statistic that I read today said there's about 200 kids that don't have any place to go. That means they sleep on couches in case manager offices. They might they might be in a hotel, or they might have a foster family that can take them for the night. And then somebody picks them up, takes them to school, and says, have a great day. And I'm thinking, I barely could focus on Shakespeare and calculus and all that stuff, and trying to think of where I'm going to sleep the next night. So as I said before, kids enter through no fault of their own. And this is where Commission 127 steps in. We know that the foster families that have a team wrapped around them foster longer and stronger. So what we're providing, or what we seek to provide, is stability for the kids and the foster families. So if the foster family stays fostering longer, that kid eats a meal with a family, the same family every night, goes to the same school every day, gets to do sports and go to church, and has the opportunity to heal just because they're stable.
Yeah.
Just another thing that's really impacted me was understanding that when a foster family closes or they don't have anywhere to go, they can bounce from home to home. And we know with each move, the average is about 6 months of academic loss.
Right, interesting.
So think about the child. You lose 6 months in 4th grade, and then 6 months in 5th grade, and you're now in 3rd grade when you should be in
Yeah.
6th grade.
Wow.
So we see why these kids, they have a higher rate of homelessness, a higher rate of drug addiction when they age out, a higher rate of incarceration, sex trafficking, and repeating the cycle. So if we can keep them stable and provide a space for healing, I'm all in.
That's remarkable. It's how you change the world.
When I was learning about these kids and realizing, it made a lot of sense in my own story, and thinking, okay, those cicadas that I mentioned, that's a backstory, right? A song that you hear when everything else is going on, and it can be sweet or bring back sweet memories. But foster children, kids that have these kind of experience, have a song that's going on in the back of their mind, and it's fear and anxiety. What's coming next? All the time. And so if you're thinking like that all the time, how do you function in a math class? How do you function on the job? Yeah. So we want to change the song.
Yeah.
And good tears.
So you recently joined as the, I'm assuming, Family Advocacy Ministries, as an ambassador. So what has been the most rewarding aspect of that role? And if you could actually explain that role a little bit as well.
Yeah. Well, it's doing what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So a FAM ambassador is going out and trying to tell people the story, because people respond to stories, don't we? I think that the restaurant question was so good for me, because I think that makes sense to me. Like, you want to hear a story. I want to hear your story. I want to talk to you, right? So I love getting to share the positive. There's hope. There is hope. We have hope. We can do something. I don't know if you saw the Sound of Hope, the Possum Trot movie.
Yeah,
One Church.
Yes, I heard about it. I didn't see it.
It's so good. It's available on Amazon.
Little church in rural
Texas.
Just hundreds and hundreds of kids that they've loved and cared for.
Yeah, they responded.
Given hope to.
Yeah, they responded, and that's a significant thing to pay attention to, because we have thousands of churches in Central Florida alone, and if each church did a little bit, we could end this. We could have more, and that's what they did. They had more people available than children. They said yes.
So my wife would I think be upset with me if I didn't mention this, because she loves sharing this piece of information. But we read once that if every church in the United States had one family that would foster, there wouldn't be a single child in the system. Yeah. Church Together already has their one family, so obviously we don't have one more family for.
we want to surround you.
Yeah. You met your quota, but but yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it? When you think of one church,
one family is all it takes. Most churches, whether they're big or small, are made up of 10 families, right? 20 families, 30 families. One family is what it takes to make a difference. So.
We have a T-shirt that says "Because kids belong in families."
Yeah, I got one of those.
It is such a great way to start a conversation.
Yeah.
And when I've had people talk to me in the post office. Sunday, we had someone talk to us in the grocery store. My husband's sporting his shirt. And it's very, very sweet. But no one disagrees. I mean, this is one of the things that nobody goes, well, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great unifier. It really is. Yeah. We've talked about stories. Your story, how you like entering into people's stories, how we're writing new stories for the kids, right? But what would you say has been the most kind of surprising, unexpected need from families that you run across? And is there something in that that's allowed you to rewrite a story?
Well, I think getting to know foster families, they're just ordinary people. In fact, the family that I wrapped around, they've taught me so much about just ordinary means of grace. And they're living life, and they're including others. And they're often very selfless and don't even recognize they have a need until there's a need. So that's been really sweet for me to learn to press in to say, I know that you're not a hero. I know you don't consider yourself a hero. But how can I walk beside you? And then noticing that just like ordinary means of grace, a text in the middle of the week, knowing that my team knows, or my family knows we're praying for them. So I call her regularly. I say, how can we pray for you? And what started as a little bit, not awkward, but just formal, has now become a friendship. Like, she texts me pictures. I wish I could show you just the kids that she's loving on are like student of the month. And I mean, where everybody's just cheering them along. It's just an ordinary thing to do. But those families often feel so isolated. So I think it's just really breaking down the barrier of isolation that has been remarkable to me because it feels so small.
Yeah.
Like, what can we do? Well, you got to do something big. It's like, text me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's accessible. Yeah.
Yeah. So C127 has a bunch of ongoing events to support families. Can you share a little bit about the major ones that you do maybe on a more regular basis, an annual basis even? What seem to be the favorites for the families involved?
Well, I'm kind of partial because, again, I like to tell stories, but Park Day was something that I was exposed to, one of my first events to attend, and just to see the impact of making an opportunity to end isolation. And so we do a Park Day. We partner with churches. We do those once a month, and these families from all over Central Florida come out. So I remember standing in the pavilion and watching families just interact. And these there's no like, they're just friends right from the beginning. They don't have to explain themselves to one another. And they don't have to say, why their kids look different. Or why don't your parents look like you? The kids are all just like, that was very sweet to me. But to see children from one side of the park, this is what got me, running towards children from the other side of the park. Like a Hallmark movie is what it looked like. Like, what's going on? I asked my friend that invited me, and she said, Michelle, those are sibling visits. That not only are these kids removed from their families, often they're separated from their siblings. So on a Saturday, when the families come together, their arms are open wide, and running towards each other. I'm like,
it's pretty cool.
I'm in, yeah. So, but there are many. We do a marriage retreat, moms events, dads retreats, events. So just trying to make people feel seen and loved.
So whether it's in the grocery store or if you have a megaphone, what is one thing that you would want to tell our community in one brief message?
Well, Commission 127 is based on James 1:27, which God calls us to care for the widow and the orphan. So God calls us to care. As I said, not everybody can foster, but we can all care. So care.
When our church was getting involved in Care Portal, again, I don't want to kind of get into my preacher mode. There are a few too late, Robin said.
Too late.
I think there are a few things as close to the heart of God as adoption, right? That's a term that He uses repeatedly.
Yeah.
But adoption has always been hard to access because the weight of doing what Carlos and June are doing, of having kids in your home, is out of reach for most people. But what I've loved about Commission 127 and Care Portal is that it's created lots of little ways that we can support, right?
Absolutely.
And when I first heard about it, someone said to me, it's like a ladder, right? And caring for kids in your home, becoming a foster parent, adoptive parent, is top of the ladder, and most families just can't reach that. But we can go to rung 1 or rung 2 and rung 3, and I love the opportunities that Commission 127 gives to build that ladder of support to those heroes who are fostering and adopting.
That's a great way to explain it. That's how I feel I've been walking on the ladder. When I went to that first initial meeting, I knew I wasn't called to foster or adopt, but I knew I wanted to be involved, and they gave me a step.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can do that.
Yeah. It was like the text. I can do that.
Yeah.
And again, it's not. And again, Carlos, I'm very, very serious when I call what you and June are doing heroic. You know that. not everybody can do that. Not everyone's in a season of life, a position to do that. I'd love to do it. It's just, it would take a miracle for that to happen in our life. But there are little things we can do, and I want to do what we can. And if we all do a little bit, this is a problem that we can solve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my little preaching bit. Sorry, Robin.
Amen. I'll just say amen to that.
Right. So just a couple of questions as we wrap. How can people get involved and find out more about Commission 127?
I'm so glad you asked.
So it's like that was a setup.
Oh, please, yes. Give me the megaphone. Well, there are very simple ways, and all the way up to fostering and adopting. That's something, figuring out where you sit on the ladder. If your church has a family advocacy ministry, get involved. If your church doesn't have a family advocacy ministry, let us help you build one. We'd be glad to do that and walk beside you and equip you and to minister to the people in your, right underneath your roof there at your church that are doing it.
Just interrupt a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get in trouble when I do that normally. But it's not just churches and faith communities who are doing that too. The great thing about this care portal.
Care portal, yes.
Is that, like, I think the UCF football team, right, is involved in this care portal situation. So when there's a need to support a family, those players are saying, hey, we'll take that. We want to help. And businesses and organizations are doing it too. So whatever kind of community you're a part of, there's a way for them to contribute.
Yes, for Care Portal, absolutely. But building a team, our family advocacy ministries are within churches. But absolutely, that's a ladder, a rung on the ladder. You can also donate and support that way. So everybody can do something.
That's right. Well, tell us the website. One, so people can find out more information, and secondly, should anyone
for the meatloaf?
That's right.
No, it's not posted there.
You make a donation to Commission 127. We will send you a meatloaf.
We will mail you a meatloaf. No, that's not true.
For gifts of $500 or more. I mean, anything less, that's not worthy of the meatloaf.
That's right. Yeah.
But tell us the website where people can, one, find out more information, secondly, find out opportunities to engage, and thirdly, maybe even there's some folks listening who can't do much, but they could make a donation.
Yeah. So our website is c127.org.
Well, that's easy.
Simple, and it's a great website. Lots of information. Take your time, read the stories.
Michelle, you've been an incredible conversationalist, and we've all been touched by the stories you've shared of others, and encouraged by your story too, that you heard this kind of call to get involved, and you said, yes, I can't do everything, but I can do something. And thank you for your time today, but perhaps more than just your time with us, thank you for saying, I can do something, because the something you do is making a difference.
And well, the Lord has redeemed the locust reference, what the locusts have eaten in my life by doing this. So I'm grateful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Listeners, we hope that you were able to learn something about Commission 127 and about the foster situation here in our local community. We hope you consider, giving time and efforts to that cause. Well, before we wrap up, we'd like to share with you an inspirational moment, and our quote today comes from Nelson Mandela. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in any society, a life free from violence and fear. I'll repeat that one more time. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in any society, a life free from violence and fear. Thank you, listener, for joining us on this episode. And again, we hope that you have learned something and enjoyed it. Until next time.